Now this video, I'm going to speak a little bit about the Black Panther Party. As you may or may not know, I speak on various topics, and I also speak on the history of our city, well, my city, the city of Oakland, California, and in particular, the Black Panther Party. And the importance of this is, as in any, how should I put it, genre, we need to tell our own story, as opposed to allowing Hollywood to tell your story, which we know will be grossly chopped and screwed and represented back to the people as something totally different. But anyway, I just want to put that out there real quick. But in this video, I want to touch on, one of the reasons which made the Black Panthers so effective. So effective that, unfortunately, it caused them to be attacked by the infrastructure through COINTELPRO and other various illegal, dirty tactics that we aren't even aware of yet, or if ever be aware of. But we know the main ones. So anyway, again, like I said, I want to kind of touch on what made the Black Panther Party one of the most, if not the most, definitely the most effective in the 20th century. Definitely I can think of offhand, especially in the United States. They don't get me wrong. And again, I didn't say certain events. I said as a movement or group as a whole. So let me get into it. Let me break it down. Now, of course, obviously, we would have to go back in time. Now, you got to think about this. During that era, just the early 1900s period into the mid to late 1900s. But from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you got the Ku Klux Klan in full effect, openly lynching people, not like now where it's clandestinely done, but unfortunately it's still being done. But anyway, you got Jim Crow and various other mechanisms that was going on. So the Black Panther Party came up out of that, as we know. And of course, with the recent assassination of Malcolm X, and various other brothers from the Eggers, Patrice Lumumba's, the list can go on and on, unfortunately, again. But, so, we got all this going on. And then, a sidebar before I continue. If you ever watch, what is that series, The Godfather of Harlem, with the actor Forrest Whitaker, in one of the earlier seasons, I remember when they had the Malcolm X in there, you had the Honorable Elijah Muhammad instructing Malcolm X not to dabble in politics. Keep that in mind. Peeped how he kept telling him that. And it's reasons why he said that. For one, he knew that, he felt that was going to bring a whole bunch of heat, because that's where all the bread and butter is, in the politics. And at that time, Elijah Muhammad didn't want that type of attention. And of course, he advocated Islam, which is a religion. So anyway, but to no avail, although the nation promotes and still promotes economic development and growth and better living, unfortunately in America, there's no way to achieve this without dabbling in the politics. There's no getting around it, ultimately. So that there alone put the eye on the Black Panthers. But anyway, And a lot of the Black Panther Party leading political theorists, and just basically an example of why as politics has to be addressed is one of the terms what is called the smartest slave syndrome, where you don't address the issue of getting off the plantation. So you can be the smartest slave on the plantation, or in the instance of cultural nationalism, you can speak your African language, you can beat your drum, eat the food, customs. You can do all that, even pray to your African gods. But if you're still on the plantation working, what good is it? So that's where the Black Panther Party came into play. They addressed specifically getting off the plantation as opposed to readopting our ancient customs, which is all good and of course, but that's not where the magic happens in today's society. And so with that in mind, that's how the Panthers postured themselves. And they outline again and again in speeches and writings why that was necessary. They understood that voting, while may be effective as a tactic but not an overall strategy, but they understood that, voting is like choosing two sides of the same coin for the most part. I think Huey is even quoted saying the only good voting does is show that it doesn't work. And again, y'all, because let me real quick before I continue, the society, when it comes, not even society, but when it came with the whole propaganda machine on how the party was attacked or whatnot, they painted the picture that if while these black folks, all they got to do is do the right thing, go to work hard, and you'll achieve the American dream or whatnot. But see, this is the thing, man. History tells us, and this is why you got to get off the plantation, because history tells us that even when we did, quote unquote, do the right thing, Tulsa, Oklahoma being the prime example, it was destroyed, sabotaged, through various, all outright destroyed. Not even talking about the redlining and all that, which took place not only in that state but all other states, especially in the north. Cities like Cleveland and Pittsburgh, them the most redlined states. Even in the Midwest, which was funny because in the Midwest you hear it's a lot of segregation as far as the neighborhoods or whatnot. Now, the economic thinking, even probably back in the Jim Crow with the whites only, black only, on the good side would be like, well, at least we had our own. But not realizing when that was happening, we was being redlined and restricted in certain areas. Now, in hindsight, we could think of ways to make that work for us, may or may not, but ultimately, that was a tactic to really to strip us from a lot of the land that we already owned. Hence groups like the KKK, but even that was just on the domestic brutalization frontline level. I'm talking about them dirty lawmakers or whatnot. But anyway, so all that, and another thing, to continue on what I was saying, excuse me, y'all, I'm coming off the brain, but the burden of proof is on white people to solve the race issue, so to speak, or to prove they're not racist. That's not our burden of proof. The burden of proof is on y'all. Y'all did all the bad shit. No, do I'm saying a white person need to go out and kiss ass or go out their way to say they not racist. No, I'm not saying that. Although that wouldn't be bad, but of course, in this day and age, you do that, people look at you funny, like, hold on, why you got to go out your way to say you're not racist? You must be racist. But you know what I'm talking about. Hell, if I was white, I would understand. So that's what I'm talking about. So that's what I mean when I say the burden of proof is on white people. Again, like I said, a white person don't got to go out their way to say they not racist. Just not be racist. Period. You don't gotta. There's no one or two action to do. It's just how you living and how you treating people. You can even, the way I look at it is like, because it can be a particular culture. Some, well, I don't like that type of music. I don't like that type of food. That don't mean I hate that type of people. So if you're a white person, just because you don't like hip hop, I don't necessarily consider you racist. Although you may need to ask why you don't like hip hop. And I bet it's some propaganda, prejudice undertones behind that. A lot of times, I ain't gonna say every time, but anyway, I'm getting off what I'm talking about, y'all. So again, with all that in mind, the party pretty much diagnosed issues that we had in our community and drafted the 10-point platform. Things from police brutality, lack of economic development, from the basic needs to food, clothing, housing, and just really ultimately to have control of our communities to get their destiny in our hands. So in order to start carrying this out, the Black Panthers start filling those voids in the community. And that's where the peaceful programs came into play. But of course, just like Tulsa, Oklahoma, those programs started being sabotaged through the first steps of the COINTELPRO. So we wasn't allowed to organize peacefully. So the party started being attacked. So hence the name self-defense. So we had to even defend that. And all this was going on from racism and in other areas from the civil rights. So that's why the party postured, or not even necessarily would in the beginning, emphasize the defense strategy, because hell, even while we was doing all the peaceful protests, we were being attacked, as history already shows from all the footage from the dogs in the water hole. That's where the whole defense idea came in, and the party defended. And unfortunately, a lot of brothers got framed and took to jail. A lot of us are still in jail. Some are being freed now after years and years, but still. And then a lot of brothers and sisters lost their lives. So this here is no joke. So you got to think again, during all this going on, and this is the group making the noise, because this is the group, the party actually attacking the issue of getting off the plantation. And not only that, diagnosing the social stratagems as well as the political and economic stratagems behind this to carry all that out. So when the party understood that, hey, well, racism is an issue of the have keeping from the have-nots, although they didn't just try to deem a certain group or race as the have-nots. The have-nots can fall under any particular nationality. Although, again, like I just said, in the party understood it was particularly to get us. And it was always, as again, we knew, basically for them to maintain all the wealth and expropriation, not only from Africa, but basically in America, the slave labor for all those years. It was just really pretty much to maintain that. And those so-called reparations, because you hear people now, well, they got their reparations years ago. Oh, you mean the ones that was took back as soon as we quote unquote got it? And it wasn't even necessarily reparations, but I ain't even about to get into that in this video. This video is really, like I said, what made the party so effective. And pretty much they went right where the bread and butter was, and that's the politics. And of course, that's choppy waters to navigate, but it must be navigated. And that's just a short summary that I'm really speaking. Is more to it than just politics per se, but that's where all the magic, you got to address that again, back to the whole plantation thing. And the party also understood that you're not in this alone. So this is where the whole community do for self, together we can achieve more, comes from. And that needs to be looked at. And again, if the party was wrong or was off, the burden of proof would have been on the government to try to prove otherwise. And they thought they did when we put them on the spot with our programs, because we gave birth to the welfare system. That was the government response to our social programs, because people started to ask, how are the Black Panther Party able to achieve more with less? So think about that. Any void you see in your city, in particular about your community, just start on your block. You ain't even gotta, start in your house first. Really, just start on your block. All the people on your block. Well, what's wrong? What we need on this block? But of course you want to start with the basic needs, but just start looking into those things. And what that does is two things. You fill the void, and it also puts the government on the spot, because isn't that their job? Isn't they supposed to be providing for their citizens? Why should their citizens have to be even resolved in illegal, illicit activities when it comes to making a living? Because if they took care of the whole making a living part, and I ain't saying just, spoil the sentiments, and I'm gonna get back to that. But you take care of that, it'll be no like I said, nobody to rob a bank. Even if a motherfucker did rob a bank or sell dope or do something, we'll know, okay, you just a criminal, because there's no reason. You can't use "I need money" as an excuse. You may need some extra money to buy the luxuries, but as far as a place to live and medical and all the food, no, you got that. So really, there's no need for you to be doing nothing illegal. See, that's where the party, like I like to call cut juggler. And again, I'm freestyling, but that's the potency of the Black Panther Party, y'all. And I'm going to elaborate a lot more on this. And I'm also going to be a lot more organized, because I don't want to do a disservice to the information. But it ain't no stopping that info, and it wasn't no stopping it. It ain't no stopping the Black Panther Party. And again, like I said, if anybody disagreed with the Black Panther Party, then the burden of proof will be on y'all to fill those voids or counteract the things the party was saying, as far as saying, hey, no, it's not like that, then do this. Until then, this is probably what needs to be looked at in certain ways. And then again, I need to go back to the whole going Telpro and the secret agent provocateurism thing, because you may get it twisted on what the Panthers actually stood for when you got or had motherfuckers misrepresenting the party and working for other entities, and sent in a misdirect the party and just to paint a black eye on the party. It was a lot of that going on. So I wanted to say that just so you wouldn't get it twisted when I'm basically speaking up on the party on certain things. And again, everybody didn't agree with the party back then, and it's usually from a personal level. It's not on a political or ideology level, for the most part, not every part. And it's kind of like, you really just, you hate the messenger, but you ain't even think about the messenger. You just don't like the messenger. You didn't like how they looked. Probably the sensationalism or whatever. Like I said, especially in Oakland, it could be some personal. But again, that was personal. but I want to break this shit down, Bad News Brown, real quick for y'all, man. Go ahead, man, and like and subscribe.